I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We are continuing in the Gospels. Christ had again returned to Jerusalem for another feast, probably the Feast of Tabernacles, but he is back in Galilee. He has ordained his 12 apostles. He has delivered the Sermon on the Mount, portion of which was the instructions given to the apostles as to what their ministry was going to consist of, what work they were being assigned. We have now completed the Sermon on the Mount, and we are turning back to more narratives. This one we are going to read both in Matthew and Luke because they both tell the same story. And so we'll read in Matthew first, then we will read in Luke. We are back in Galilee. The crowds are just dispersing after the Sermon on the Mount. In this video, we have a Joseph Smith translation. And what the Joseph Smith translation is, this is a translation or correction done by Joseph Smith to restore those passages that have been lost or corrupted over the years. And we turn now to Matthew chapter 8, and we will read verses 5 through 13. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh. And to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the selfsame hour. Now, first, a centurion originally was the commander of 100. Now, by the time of Christ, I believe this has been cut down to a commander of 80, but centurion is based on the Latin term for 100, because they were originally a commander of 100. But they were also, well, we won't get into the military stuff now, but just he's not a high officer in the army, but he is an officer in the army. He's not an enlisted man. And that's what he's talking. He has servants, he has soldiers, he can command them, and they obey him. Christ says, he's told the guy's servant is sick. He says, okay, let me go heal him. And the man says, oh, no. Man, he knows he's a Roman, he's a centurion. And he says, look, Lord, I know, according to the Jewish custom, you're not supposed to be coming into my house. I'm not worthy of that. Just say the word and he'll be healed. And Christ, I love this, Christ says, I've not seen so great faith in all Israel. And then he makes that statement, there will be those from the east and west who will come and be partakers of the covenant of Abraham, and yet the children of the covenant, or the children of the kingdom, will be cast out. And that's what he's saying, the Gentiles will be saved. They believe, and their faith will save them. But the unbelief of the Israelites will have them cast out. He's here stating that it doesn't matter who your ancestors are. Salvation is based on faith in Christ alone. It doesn't matter who you're in. A direct descendant of Abraham has no greater chance at salvation than a Gentile. It's beautiful. Now, let us go to the Joseph Smith translation. Not much here from what I can see. Mainly there are some interesting ones here. So like in verse 7, it's just changing saith to said. In verse 11 has, from the east and west, and we correct this to from the east and from the west. And in verse 13, where it says, so be it done unto thee, as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee, we just take out the word so. As thou hast believed, be it unto thee, be it done unto thee. But there are these two in verse 12, where it says, but the children of the kingdom shall be cast out, meaning, all the Israelites. But this change says, but the children of the wicked one, meaning those who do not follow Christ, those, regardless of who they are descended from, but those who follow Satan rather than Christ. I like the change. It doesn't really give us a different meaning, really, but I like the change. But then we have, in verse 10, we do have this. This is interesting. says, when Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. Now that's the King James. Joseph Smith gives this. And when they that followed him heard this, they marveled. And when Jesus heard this, he said unto them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. So the astonishment and the marveling was not Christ. It was all those who followed him. It was his disciples who, first of all, probably marveled a bit that he was willing to go and heal the centurion's servant, but at the centurion's faith. Most of his followers are still Jews, or still Israelites, and the idea that a Roman has this faith in Christ was astounding to them. I like that. But now let us turn to Luke. Luke chapter 7, verses 1 through 10. Now when he had ended all his sayings in the audience of the people, he entered into Capernaum. And a certain centurion servant who was And a certain centurion servant who was dear unto him was sick and ready to die. And when he heard of Jesus, he sent unto him the elders of the Jews, beseeching him that he would come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this. For he loveth our nation, and he hath built us a synagogue. And Jesus went with them. And when he was now not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying unto him, Lord, trouble not thyself, for I am not worthy that thou shouldest enter under my roof. Wherefore neither thought I myself worthy to come unto thee, but say in a word, and my servant shall be healed. For I also am a man set among authority, having under me soldiers, and I say unto one, Go, and he goeth, and unto another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him, and turned him about, and said unto the people that followed him, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And they that were sent, returning to the house, found the servant whole that had been sick. So this tells us, and this is an important detail, the centurion, as I said, he's a Roman. He doesn't feel worthy to have Christ in his house. But he's not just that. He's saying, I'm a Roman. I'm a Gentile. He is the God of the Jews. I'm not even worthy to be in his presence. What does he do? He sends the elders of the Jews, his friends, and they all testify on his behalf, say, this is a great guy. He loves the Jews. He's built us a synagogue. He is supportive of us. And so Christ goes to heal him. And while he's on his way, some more servants come out and again say, well, don't come any closer. You're close enough. I don't want to get anybody in trouble here. And this is where Christ says, I've not seen so great faith. So the centurion not only believed, but he respected the traditions of the Jews to the point where he did not want to cause any trouble for Christ. Now, let us quickly look at the Joseph Smith translation here. In verse 1, instead of ended all his sayings, it's ended all these sayings. In verse 7, it says, but say in a word, and my servant shall be healed. And we simplify it, but say the word. So, and verse 9, again, we change that to who. So, the people that followed him is the people who followed him. In verse 10, it says, and they that were sent is corrected to they who were sent. And then found the servant whole that had been sick is corrected to found the servant whole who had been sick. So only minor grammatical corrections there. Nothing serious. This is a great story, though. This is one of the few stories of a non-Israelite receiving the blessings that Christ gives you. He's receiving the healing that Christ is able to give. Because remember, Christ is sent only to Israel. But on occasion, he does heal the Gentiles when they show the faith. I leave that here, and we will be continuing in the story next. I can't remember exactly where we're at, so I will see you there.